Alrighty, well, we finally broke down our range, the range we've been talking about all week. We finally got the breakdown here today below 74.73 early in the morning session today. And so we'll just take a little bit here, take a few minutes to kind of go over the session today, what we got, and kind of where we stand here now going forward. Um, a little bit of a messier session today for sure, and a couple of reasons why. We'll kind of dig into those things here shortly. So yeah, we came in this morning, right, and we had actually uh, put in a small overnight failed breakdown here of 75.06. That did go for a couple of levels. So for anyone trading that last night, they did get a few levels of profit takes here from the 75.06 failed breakdown that was mentioned yesterday in the Discord as a trade idea. That did play out overnight. But by the time I think most of us got to the screens this morning, we kind of started to fade and invalidated that. So a failure of a failed breakdown always, as we mentioned, that starts a potential sell algo here, and that's kind of what we got this morning. We lost these lows here at 75.06, lost the lowest low that turned the failed breakdown on, and then we started slowly selling down into our range support at 74.73. So this was going to be the big failed breakdown to watch today. It's the mode 2 range support failed breakdown. As always, the failed breakdowns at range supports are always the best quality usually, as it's right at the bottom end of a range, so it's very likely to trap, and if it does, there's a higher likelihood that trap can at least get to the midpoint of the range, and if it can get to the midpoint of the range, it can go up to the top of the range. So let's kind of go into a little bit detail of the 74.73 failed breakdown. So we did end up putting in a sweep here, a pretty deep sweep by the open. We had lost it by, let's see, about 30 points or so. So it was quite a big of a sell where we had made new lows at 74.45. At the open, we got some really strong momentum. As you can see here, we got a really nice strong momentum candle that kind of took us back to 74.73. So the biggest things here you want to watch out for is, one, it's a pretty deep failed breakdown potentially. And so usually with these, you want to watch for some good type 1 acceptance. Or if you are going to play the non-acceptance protocol, you do need some sort of really good momentum to show itself to be able to play it. Otherwise, it is a little risky to play it when it's 30 points off the lows in just a straight line. You're giving really sellers a great opportunity to smack down price back to the lows. So we did try to put an attempt here at a failed breakdown. There wasn't really any acceptance, but there was a little bit of strong momentum at the time that did take price to 74.86 before eventually sellers stepped in where they needed to, smacked us back down and made new lows. So a little bit tricky to play this depending on where you got an entry. You may have gotten a trim, you may not have gotten a trim. Very much depends on where you were able to get an entry. But unfortunately, I think for a lot of us, if you didn't get an entry right here at 78 or 79, it was probably tough to get trims on this, and so this one ended up eventually just kind of fading back down into the new lows. The second sort of trade idea here we had today was potentially playing a failed breakdown to 74.45. So this now at the time was a low of day at 9:30 a.m. Ended up just being the 9:30 a.m. low as we ended up making new lows below here. But this was definitely a potential valid failed breakdown to watch out for. Another situation where again we made deep lows below it. So again, you need strong type 1 acceptance of price or some really strong momentum. Price tried again here just a little bit after noon, and it got about 10 points or so from 45 before, again, just kind of rest of the afternoon just kind of turning into a bit of a chop fest here. So overall, the context of today, and I think one of the reasons to point to as to why a lot of the trades today were just a lot choppier and didn't really play out for more than a few points or so, was because we had put in the bear case and we had lost our range to support that we had been talking about all week at 74.73, as well as we had a failure of a failed breakdown from 75.06. So the failure of losing both of these basically made it where Bears were in control pretty much all day today. And they responded where they needed to. So kudos to Bears today. They stepped in, rejected at 73, stepped in, didn't allow momentum and our short covering to come up above 45. So they played their hands really well today. And so Bulls were definitely in a little bit of more of a struggle today, which caused really the long side to be a lot trickier on a day like today. So going into here tomorrow, and really this evening session now, so we still have this 45 low that can be recovered. It's still a nice significant low, and if we can get above it, we can see some short covering back to 73. That'll be the first spot for sellers to back test. Sellers' goals right now will be to defend here at 45 and start pushing back down towards new lows, where they can continue with the momentum that they got today after breaking us down here, and starting to liquidate a lot of longs. So that'll be the main thing to watch out for as we close out the week here tomorrow on Friday. We got the range breakdown we've finally been talking about. Sellers did their job today. They defended every back test where they needed to. So it's now their job to just continue that run, defend 45 here or defend 73 here tomorrow and continue back down to new lows. And the job for Bulls will be to see if they can somewhat hold these lows here today or put in a quick trap here of today's lows and then be able to kind of get us back up to 74.73 and then 75.06 for back tests. So that'll be what's on the watch list to close out the week.